نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد بسم الله Alhamdulillah. Every Friday we have to be very thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows us to come to masjid and offer our prayers. It's an obligation that we need to fulfill. And there are many out there with health conditions, with transportation problems and other situations that they're not able to make it. So we cannot take anything lightly. Any blessing we get, any opportunity we get to do a good deed should be a moment of thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, inshallah, we'll talk about a very important topic, something that we have to keep in our minds at all times. If you look around in our daily lives, we see that we debate about a lot of things. There are many things that people have different perspectives, different ideas. You can think about politics, religion, sports, freedom of speech, genetic engineering. These days there's artificial intelligence. There are so many opinions about all these things and many other topics. But I want to address or share with you two universal truths that no one denies or no one can deny. The two things that people, regardless of whichever camp they fall into in different things, they cannot deny. We all come in this world alone, and we will all leave this world alone. Regardless of which family you are born or which country you belong to, regardless of what your opinions are on the matters of life, we all come in this world alone, and we will all leave this world alone. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in Surah An'am, where He mentions, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. And you have certainly come to us alone as we created you the first time. So when we come in this world, we are born with our own body and our own soul, and no one shares that with us. And similarly, when we leave this world, our body and our soul go together. No one comes along from our family or friends in that journey back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're born alone, we die alone, and we are raised to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we get in front of Him, we have to stand alone. This comes in Surah Maryam, وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. On the day of resurrection, each one of you will come to Him alone. We all have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be accountable for what we have done in this world. So our topic today is about individual accountability, that we are all responsible for our own actions. And there's nothing that can save you from bearing the consequences of what you do in this world in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing that will be between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day. But as human beings, we have a flaw in our mindset, in our way of thinking. We think the way we live in this world and the rules that apply to this world, they will apply everywhere. And how we overcome problems here, somehow we can use similar means to overcome problems everywhere. But it doesn't work that way. I want to clarify that to you with an example. So imagine you got a very big speeding ticket on the highway, and now you're trying to get out of that situation, resolve the ticket, not bear the consequence of that ticket. So what are the different means you will adopt to just get out of that penalty? A few of them come to mind. If you have money, you will simply pay the ticket and move on. If you cannot afford to pay, but let's say your family and friends can pay your ticket or even the insurance that comes after, then you will ask for their help. If you have any connections with authorities or paralegal services, you will consult them and somehow get the ticket nullified. After all your efforts, if the ticket cannot be canceled, then what would be on your mind is, I'll dispute the ticket, go to the court, stand in front of the judge, and I will either make an excuse or blame something else. Right? I would either say, look, I was rushing because so-and-so had an emergency, I had to go and, help them out, or something else. I did not look at the speedometer, whatever the case might be. I will come up with something and try to get out of that situation. That is our mindset of how we look at the problems in this world and deal with them in different ways. Try our means, whatever is in our control. So you would use your wealth, your friends and family, your connections, would come up with an excuse, or you would just blame someone else. Those are some ways how you try to tackle something as simple as a speeding ticket in this world. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls you for accountability on the Day of Judgment, none of these tactics would work. None of these tactics would work. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it one after another in the Qur'an. These simple things, the ways we think, that's how Qur'an relates to us. We just need to reflect upon it. You will find all these things that we take as means in this world to get out of problems. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions them one after another in different parts of Qur'an. So your family relationships will not work on the Day of Judgment. Surah Mu'minun. فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَلَا أَنْسَابَ بَيْنَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَلَا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. Then when the trumpet is blown, there will be no relationship among them that day, nor they will ask about one another. So family relationships will not work. What about friends? Your friends will actually turn against you on that day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it. Surah Zukhruf. الْأَخِلَّاءُ يَوْمَئِذٍ بَعْضُهُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٌّ إِلَّا الْمُتَّقِينَ. Close friends that day will be enemies to each other, except the righteous ones. Your money will not help. Surah Hadid. فَالْيَوْمَ لَا يُؤْخَذُ مِنْكُمْ فِدْيَةٌ. So this day no ransom will be taken from you. Regardless of how much money you bring or anything else, it will not be taken as ransom, and you will not be relieved that day of your duties. What else? We talked about excuses, right? This happened, that happened, reasons why I was speeding. Well, no other excuses will be accepted that day. No excuses. Surah Mursalat. وَلَا يُؤْذُنْ لَهُمْ فَيَعْتَذِرُونَ. And they will not be permitted to offer any excuse. Here we go to the judge, you get an opportunity. Look, this happened, that happened, a dialogue. That day, there's no dialogue. Not even given a chance to explain or excuse yourself. And then what is the easiest thing we all think we can do? Well, just blame Shaitan. It wasn't me, it was someone else. It was Shaitan who misguided me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got that covered as well in Surah Ibrahim. Because Shaitan will say that day, when people will try to blame, same thing. We are trying to apply what we do in this world to the akhirah, thinking the rules of the two worlds are the same. That's the fallacy we have as human beings, but it doesn't work that way. What will Shaitan say? وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَنْ دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ مَا أَنَا بِمُصْرِخِكُمْ وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُصْرِخِي. But I had no authority over you. That's what Shaitan will say that day. People will try to blame him, except that I invited you and you responded to me. So do not blame me, but blame yourselves. I cannot help you, nor you can help me. Allahu Akbar. So whatever resources we think we can apply in this world and somehow they will help us in the hereafter, that's not how it works. So what is the takeaway from today's reminder? That we do not take our actions lightly in this world. They have consequences for us. That we do not violate the rights of others just because we have power in this world today. We do not commit sins, whether in public or private. So you are fully responsible. I am fully responsible for all the actions we all perform, and no one can save us on the Day of Judgment. And it doesn't matter whether you belong to a noble family. It doesn't matter. You're the richest person on earth. It doesn't matter. You're connected to, the president or a king or even a sheikh. It doesn't matter. It does not help you. Allah says, Surah An'am, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No one shall bear the burden of another. So how do we keep the responsibility and accountability top of our mind? That's where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam comes in, as a guide and tells us what could you do so that this remains top of our mind. Comes in Tirmidhi, Abu Hurairah narrates, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Akthiru dhikra hadim al-ladhat." Akthiru dhikra hadim al-ladhat. Remember the destroyer of pleasure frequently. What is the destroyer of pleasures? It's the death. If you remember that one day you have to die and stand in the front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it will always keep you cautious of your actions. So that's what we need to think about. We all come in this world alone, and we will all leave this world alone. So we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the ability to have this top of our mind, to guide us to the straight path, to be cautious, not to violate the rights of others, and on the day of judgment, pass us through to the Jannah without any reckoning. Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-Jannah wa ma qaraba ilayhi min qawlin wa amal, wa na'udhu bika min an-nari wa ma qaraba ilayhi min qawlin wa amal. O Allah, we ask you for paradise and every word and deed that brings us closer to it, and we seek refuge in you from the fire and every word and deed that brings us closer to it. Subhanakallah wa hamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka.